Hello and welcome to Talkin Jake. It's opening day week. The baseball games start for every team on Thursday, and then the baseball season's just rolling. So besides the off day for some of the teams after the initial Thursday, that sometimes they do for rainouts and stuff. That might be informative for some people. We're in it. We're a 3-game series. We won this series. We lost this series. Baseball's back, and I'm excited for it. And with that, I could have went a little baseball sweaty and gone, with some of the veterans moving teams. Ryan Yarbrough to the Yankees. Tristan Campbell makes the Red Sox. But we could have gone ugly with it. We could have done 26th man on every team. That's a really bad ep someday. Who's the 26th man on every team?
Frankly, we probably did that last year. And you liked it.
Subscribe. And hey, the channel's been doing great, views and subscriptions. So thank you to everyone. If you could subscribe and all that. But today, instead of doing the 26th man, I wanted to build the 26th man baseball team. I don't care about country. I don't care about countries you're from. I don't care about I want the best 26 man team. And I think in baseball, I think it's a fun exercise because I do want this to be a team. I don't want all right-handed hitters. I want it to be the best team that you could possibly assemble, and I want to try to do that today. And I think there's some easy starts. I think there's a couple interesting hiccups along the way, and I want to see what other fun stuff we fall into. The comparison I gave to BBD before was, I think when it gets to the bench, this is a bench that might be hard to use. Like, I might need actual bench guys. Drew Holiday for Team USA, for those that cross sports with me. So with that, let's get into this fun exercise. The 2025 all 26-man team heading into the season. And I have good news because I can check off 2 things instantly. And I do think for those on the YouTube, BBD will have a little chart to follow along at home so we don't get too lost along the way. The start is easy for me because I was like, okay, do you want the best leadoff hitter? Do you want the best? For me, you want the best player in the game. And there's 2 guys that do things differently that we talk about a lot, that we don't talk about enough, depending how you look at it. It's Judge and Ohtani. They're both on this team. Ohtani is the DH, and I get a bonus pitcher. Like, people aren't talking about that enough. And Aaron Judge is the right fielder. And that's just the end of the conversation. You can like Ronald. You could like some of the other baseball players. Aaron Judge, if he stays healthy, it's likely he's going to hit 60 home runs. We did our Talkin Baseball betting episode. DraftKings. Me and BBD did fine last year. 2 out of 3 got our locks. Yep. Looking at the Judge numbers for betting home runs this year is insane. Him to hit 50 home runs is about even money. For some of you, that means something. For some of you, that doesn't. And that's fine. Just know that hitting 50 home runs shouldn't be close to likely for anyone. Bless you. Aaron Judge is that. He's moving back to right field where he has a plus arm. I think the range is average-ish. He's a big body. But you saw in the postseason, there was a couple catches that he turned it on in center field, and he went out and got it. And he doesn't do that in the regular season because he has to save his body because he's the most important piece on the Yankees. And why was he even in center field? Anyways, Aaron Judge in right field, I'm sorry, is no contest. I get a righty-lefty off the bat. Shohei went 53-59 last year. I always confuse those numbers, but that's pretty good. I think that's locked. And Shohei pitches. And it just ends a lot of discussions because I think you just need to do best players for a little bit. And we've been doing a lot of that with our tier lists and rankings. And I just think if you're doing a best players in baseball list, it starts with Shohei and Judge. And we may even have Foolish Bailey on next week to ridicule his top 50 players like we do every year. So get ready for that. After Shohei and Judge, it's where do you go next? And I'm interested, BBD. I've been doing this exercise in my head. I introduced this exercise to you a couple minutes ago. I guess where does your brain just initially jump? No wrong answer.
Weirdly enough, the second you introduced the topic and we talked lineup stuff, my mind jumped to I want Bobby Witt Jr. on this team.
Whoa. Interesting.
Now, a little bit of that was I sort of forgot Shohei is going to be your leadoff hitter if he's on the team.
Sure. Yeah, I guess our Gunner Hive
Yeah. The Gunner Hive is going to be strong.
has
on that.
some interest in that. Okay, interest. That was what I was looking for. Let's put that on ice because it's hard to picture a team without Bobby Witt Jr. or at least as the starting shortstop. But I do think there's a Gunner discussion and maybe righty-lefty as this team evolves. I jumped to, which surprised me a little bit, and we do have the advantage of having done tier lists the
Thought
past
about who's the
couple
best at
months.
every spot.
I was a little surprised it was the consensus, but then again, I was not. I think Jose Ramirez is a third baseman.
Yep, that was the.
I think that's it.
The other one, as I moved around the field a little bit, I was like, well, Jose Ramirez will be on this team at third base. Where we end up putting him in the lineup could shift, I suppose. But
Yeah. No, I want to get the roster, and then we can set up the perfect lineup and all that. But Jose Ramirez is the starting third baseman. He switch hits. Man, however this team looks, he could be top of the lineup, middle lineup, bottom of the lineup. I mean, the guy used to play some second base. We did a third base tier list. There's great players, obviously. I went on a whole rant last year how we were in the golden age of third baseman. From Arenado to Matt Chapman, Devers, Breggy, Austin Riley, who kind of had the throne, and I think will come back. But either way, the switch hitting, speed, power of Jose Ramirez, he's locked on this team. Top 5 MVP Jose. So he's in. I had a similar conversation with myself about second base because Ketel Marte was at the top of our list. He switch hits. Special ball player. Probably slightly underrated for the Snakes. The question is, if Mookie Betts is going to be a starter on this team, kind of the only fair position left would be second base. So I think I want to come back to that because I think building the team, it kind of depends what it looks like. Between those two baseball players, I think all around Mookie Betts is Mookie Betts. He's inner circle Hall of Famer. Shohei's clogging that DH spot. Come on, guy. Go figure out left field, Shohei. No, he's done enough. But, it'd be very easy to put Ketel at second because he's the best second baseman. But I think if you're being honest with yourself, Mookie Betts at second base, which has now become his best position, ? Does he play right field? I don't know. The Dodgers have put us in a tizzy with that.
he's down a lot of weight. The updates today were
Down
some
a lot of
big
weight.
numbers.
Didn't seem like he had a lot of weight to lose.
Yeah.
That it feels like it's going to be a weird storyline of the season, but now I have to come back to second base. So I guess it's where am I feeling the most confident about a great ball player? Bobby Witt Jr. is a great mention.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't want to get Gunner too hard because I think it's Bobby. But who are the other, when you're listing the top 5 players in the game, who else comes up?
It's Shohei, Judge, Bobby.
Right.
Guys, we have said. And those are the first ones.
Do I believe in Jarren Duran that much? What he did last year, yes. Do I believe that? I don't think so.
There's an element I think, but at the end of this, one of the biggest elephants in the room is going to be like, what do we do with Juan Soto?
Right. That's where I did laugh because I was like, well, I love Juan Soto. I do. Sorry, Mets fans. All Yankee stuff aside, if you get one right fielder, Aaron Judge beats Juan Soto.
Yeah.
Just is that. If you get one DH and it's Shohei versus Soto, Shohei wins. And I get him as a pitcher. So could I see Juan Soto on the bench? Yeah. Do I put Juan Soto back in left field? Maybe. But he's not like a good defender. But
don't know what stadium we're in.
It could. I thought about picking a stadium because that factors a little bit. But no, we're going to go whatever in your head is the most neutral, less sexy stadium. What would that be? Is that like Washington?
Something like that. Comment below.
Comment the least sexy, most generic baseball field.
What's the most balanced stadium?
Like the fence is just round. And the outfield is not big nor small. I'd like 0 features. Like 330 down each line. 385 in the gaps. 400 to center. I mean, there's got to be a stadium that St. Louis is a little big. That has some features.
Google AI overview is useless. Give me 2 famous pitchers parks.
Yeah. Royals in a way, but that's a little big for me. Kind of like if the Royals and the Red Stadium had a baby and it balanced out that side of it. Anyways, I feel like we've gotten off track. So you guys figure that out for me. Who's the best first baseman in baseball?
Freddie's the first name that came to mind.
Freddie's pretty good.
If we get into a territory of like what is this lineup missing? There's this
Vladdy has an argument for the throne.
It's an argument for wanting that pop.
Matt Olson. In my head, I want Vladdy. I feel like he's peaking. He's 26.
Could certainly pencil him in for now and see where we land.
I think I'd like to do that. Because I think it happened, and I think it's going to happen with Vladdy Jr. Center field is an important position in baseball. Who did we have at the top of our tier list? We had Julio.
Julio's ended up back towards the top of it.
Jay's on
as
my
I'm
feet.
pulling it up. We had Julio and Jackson Merrill up top.
Jeez. Center field's a very important position.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to put together the best 26-man baseball team and in the starting lineup would be Julio or Jackson Merrill. That feels insane.
There's an argument to build the best roster, which I think is
supposed to be the exercise.
There's a little bit of role-playing elements to it, like grabbing one of the guys maybe a tier lower that, well, those guys are good defenders too, but
right.
Them being at the bottom of a lineup's not going to be a problem. A lineup like this, we'll give like lights out plus plays on the defensive end.
Mike Trout's just out, right?
He's kind of out. He's in the plan for him is right field. And I think when we're talking about assembling a lineup, the probability of them making it through this year's 162 game season has to be accounted for.
Okay. God, I like Kyle Tucker. He plays right field. Could he play left field in this exercise?
Could. Maybe.
And then does that make the list? Because we now have an interesting conundrum with left field. Yordan Alvarez is very good and plays some left field. primarily a pretty small left field. I was impressed. Like, his speed numbers and data were better than I thought they were going to be. The big fella can move around a little bit. But then that just turns into Soto and Yordan. And I think if we're being completely fair, if we're going to put one of those in left field, which I think is the move, it would either be them or Tucker.
Those are the three guys who like really should be.
I think it's Juan Soto in left field, and that's that. Which makes me think it's Julio in center, which is kind of crazy. Because the last 2 years have felt almost disappointing from Julio. But I need a center fielder that can help protect Soto. I think everyone thinks that Julio has more in there. We have good balance currently.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess I'd like to see what our bench starts looking like. Because we can't get kooky with this. I can't put Ellie De La Cruz in center and just say, it'd be good, right? That's not how this works.
Yeah. I've been wondering what you've been thinking about this exercise for the bench. Because, like, does that have to be players like that's
I've been worried, too.
what they do?
We need good ball players. Like, well, you got to build an MLB bench. I have one kooky thing at the end.
Okay.
But that's for me. Okay. So what are we missing right now? Second base, which is a Mookie Betts, Ketel Marte incident.
We have to make a second base, a shortstop, and a catcher decision.
Catcher is interesting. When we did our catcher tier list, it's William Contreras and Cal Raleigh at the top. I think William Contreras is a better all-around hitter. I think Cal Raleigh is a better defender. Cal Raleigh switch hits, has a little more pop. Cal Raleigh has played at a stadium where apparently other players can't hit the ball. Yet he has found a way to hit the ball. God, I get so used to searching players on my laptop that I just typed in Raleigh, and Raleigh, North Carolina popped up, which is fair because that's been around more and more people are looking into that. Cal Raleigh last year, 220. I love that. 312, 436, a 748 OPS, a 119 OPS plus, 34 homers, and 100 RBI. 4.7 B WAR. That's interesting to me. William Contreras, 281, 365, 466, 831, a 129 OPS plus. His OPS has been in the 8s the past 3 years. He is, 27 years old. Over the last 3 years, William Contreras is 283, 363, and 835 OPS. Cal Raleigh, again, wants us to do OPS plus because of where he plays. But his offensive numbers are behind that.
Yeah.
And I think if we're being honest, I mean, a 222 batting average and a 303 on base from Cal Raleigh.
Mm-hmm.
What am I truly losing in pop with William Contreras? A little bit. I'm losing another switch hitter with Cal Raleigh that I'm trying to get back into baseball because switch hitters are good.
The defensive metrics, basically all of them love Cal Raleigh.
They do, and they should.
98th percentile fielding run value.
And just a reminder, on Cal Raleigh's baseball page, it says rhymes with jolly.
Yeah.
Does it? Raleigh? Jolly? Cal Raleigh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Feels weird.
Kinda. So if I'm building this great all-world baseball team with second base still open, Do I have to pick one righty and one switch hitter? Because I feel like if I go with two righties, I don't know if that's right. I don't know if I love.
Would influence the shortstop choice.
And that's got to be Bobby, right? America loves Bobby. Cal's not great
I feel like
versus lefties.
I feel like every time we look into the Bobby Gunner thing, it's just like Bobby
won.
Just a tick ahead on everything.
Bobby won.
Both are basically the best player ever.
Right. Give me Bobby at shortstop. I think I want Cattell at second. And give me William Contreras behind the plate to start. And let me see what that looks like. And how would I set that lineup? Because that's 9, right?
That would be 9. That would be our starting lineup.
William Contreras, Vladdy, Ketel Marte, Bobby Witt Jr., Jose Ramirez, Soto in left, Julio in center, Judge in right, Shohei at DH.
So what changes need to happen from here? Because I kind of just placed them in the order that we declared them.
Right. I guess the question becomes, we're doing, this is our baseball team. We are baseball gods. And why wouldn't we be? The Soto Judge back-to-back thing worked.
It's pretty sick.
Judge likes hitting third.
Shohei's leading off for us.
Shohei's really damn good.
At the same time, they're the type of players that if somebody tries to stack lefties on them, good luck. God. It shouldn't matter for those two.
Shohei has led. Shohei is too good. Shohei has led the National League and the American League the year before in on-base percentage. I mean, there's part of me that almost wants to go lefty-lefty before Judge, but I would never do that. You can't do that. So is Shohei the best? Shohei leads off.
I think Shohei leads off.
It's Shohei, Judge, Soto. And that's fine. That's still a great start. That's still a great start.
For now, I'll just flip these two. Because that might be how it works best.
Yeah, I guess Julio bats last. I
think so.
I was gonna do a double leadoff thing and maybe put Bobby Witt last, but Julio hits last.
And he does to a degree. He accomplishes the double leadoff situation. He's a very fast player.
Leads off for his team. There's been some struggles there. Jose Ramirez, final stat line from last year, 279, 335, and 872 OPS. So it's very good. It's not gangbusters. Vladdy ended up being gangbusters last year. 323, 396, and 940 OPS. And I think if this was the roster, I don't think there'd be a lot of complaints. I think the only people currently getting mad would be the Kansas City Crew, because Bobby Witt hit 332 with a 389 on base, and I was potentially going to lead him off and then go Soto, Judge, Shohei, which doesn't sound bad. A little more traditional leadoff. Tradition's out. And then we are getting sneaky righty heavy at the bottom of this lineup.
Yeah.
If I move Shohei down, people would be mad. Do I care about people or winning? I am the people. I care about the people.
I was going to mention your old theory of, do what the other team doesn't want you to do, and they don't want to see Bobby Witt or Shohei lead off.
Right.
That's all things
this game
considered
breaks
a pretty
the system
equal.
a little bit. I think I want to put Bobby Witt leadoff. And then I'm flipping Shohei and Soto. And that's just how it works. Just because I've seen that work before. Juan Soto got on base at a .419 clip last year. So, yeah, him and Judge flip again. So, Bobby Witt Jr. at shortstop. Juan Soto, the left fielder. Julio's covering him. Aaron Judge in right field. DH Shohei Ohtani. I think then you go Vladdy. I think he deserves that. He's our first baseman. From there, you probably want one of the switch hitters, so we'll do J-Ram there. I could see the Ketel Marte Hive getting not happy with that, but that's none of my business right now.
It's Jose Ramirez, fellas.
He's good. So there, that would then be William Contreras at catcher. Ketel Marte, the second baseman. Julio Rodriguez in the 9-hole. I think, like I've mentioned, there's a Mookie Betts discussion to be had. But if I'm building the best 26 man, I have Mookie kind of ready to do everything. Mookie could play second. Mookie could play center. Mookie's ready to come in and do whatever this team needs. That I think he would be the first player listed as a bench player, which nobody's going to like that. But let's say this is for 162. This is the best 26 man. I can still get Mookie 120 games.
He'll find his way late into some games.
Mookie Betts. He'd probably love it. And he's recovering. So he starts on the IL. Things that currently feel like a little bit of a miss. We haven't mentioned Lindor.
No Lindor.
But, again, with the all 26-man team, I don't know. I kind of want Yordan on the bench.
I do think we're going to find ourselves kind of wanting that.
He's Yordan. I think
I could see us late in a game.
He could pinch hit for William Contreras, Julio.
Exactly who I was thinking.
Hell, Vladdy, if it's a real tough righty. I mean, he's Yordan Alvarez. I'll read some Yordan stats for the people, just so they don't forget. Yordan Alvarez, career, 298, 390, 973. His OPS plus the last 3 seasons, 188, 170, 172. So he is 1.7 hitters is one way to look at that. Yordan's on this team. Yordan hits. He hits. Mookie goes in and replaces whoever he needs. And that's fine.
You'll need a backup catcher.
Yordan, 176 OPS plus the last 3 years. So I'll go hand up. I'm going to do this a little bit to make people mad about the graphic and hopefully add some levity to everyone's day. I've heard Terry Francona rant and rave about this player. I'm a backup catcher. I need a clubhouse, too. I got a lot of studs. Austin Hedges. The ideal backup catcher. Every time he gets an at-bat, all the guys are on the top step. They can't believe he's getting at-bats on this team. And he's just the number one clubhouse guy. He's the player's manager.
Loved.
If we need him to come in and play some defense, he'll do that. It'll make people mad. I don't really care. It'll be silly for the graphic. So there's one bench spot left. Jordan can essentially play left field and DH. That's kind of it.
Mm-hmm.
Mookie can play everywhere, which is nice.
Keeps us from being pigeonholed into having to pick infield here, but
So ball player guys, mentioned Lindor, Freddie got mentioned earlier. Gunnar.
been all around Gunnar.
Gunner's interesting. Bryce Harper, Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, currently nobody pinch runs on this team. And Mookie, with the bench assembled, would be that guy, but
Right, Mookie's speed stuff is not
where you would think as you're listening to this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm running through names like Jackson Merrill again. We could end up platooning him and Julio. Ellie De La Cruz. When I think speed in baseball, I kind of jump to him. Corbin Carroll could also be a center field, left field type for this team. It's funny, I'm currently looking at MLB's top 100 list from this year. Ellie De La Cruz and Corbin Carroll, they have it 31 and 32. Jarren Duran, they have above that. Jackson Merrill, they have above that. They have Jackson and Julio at 23 and 24. Jackson Merrill was a shortstop coming up. I mentioned Kyle Tucker, Corey Seager, Ronald Acuna Jr. I'd like a little versatility. Mookie plays second, short, in the corners at this point.
In a pinch on this team, I guess he's the one moving to center, but
I guess it's fair to say a backup center fielder would be the most of need. And where we landed on Julio, I'm leaning Jackson Merrill. You can start him a chunk in center. He can come in and run a little bit. Let me get some Jackson Merrill. In my head, I don't have him stealing a ton of bases, which doesn't solve our run in case of emergency. 16 steals.
I'll see what a sprint speed number is on him. Young,
healthy.
Sprint speed 81st percentile, so
it's good.
Not a burner, but obviously objectively fast.
And if he starts, then Julio's coming off the bench, so there's something there. Yeah, I guess I'm trying to think. Are there any crazy super util speed guys that I'm just blanking on right now?
Super util speed guys. I can start by looking at a sprint speed leaderboard.
Michael Harris 2, but that's just Jackson Merrill again.
Bobby, Johan, Rojas, Ellie De La Cruz, your three fastest players in baseball. PCA is the sixth fastest.
I mean, that's a crazy.
He accomplishes center field and speed.
It's a crazy put.
It'd be a crazy put. A lot of guys who do not get particularly regular playing time for their teams. Jackson Chourio is higher on this list than I was going to guess.
Chourio was interesting. He came up for me. Ellie De La Cruz is still on my mind because of the elite speed. He played a couple games at third as a kid. We currently don't really have a backup third baseman, although Mookie's util allows Bobby Witt to play third, whatever it would be.
I mean, in my head, what this roster spot is going to be used the most for is a pinch run situation.
Right, because I just essentially created a center field platoon, which
you obviously could do.
Isn't awful. I don't hate that when these were the two best center fielders, and I don't know how much I fully believe in Julio. who had a 37 stolen base season in 23.
I'd almost feel better about it if we had Merrill starting and Julio listed as the bench one.
I think that might be right because that's complete balance in the lineup. Julio provides more speed off the bench. Jackson Merrill, kind of a stud. I like it. I'm sorry, Mariners fans. I thought we were just racking up a dub together.
Kind of just sunned you on two of your favorite players.
But I think that's how the cookie crumbled there. Okay, so what have we currently learned from this exercise? Jackson Merrill's rise. He is just... I hope it continues because Jeff Passan went on Rosillo, which, if any of you know me, that's a certain level of sports porn. He said Jackson Merrill reminds him of Freddie Freeman, but plays elite high-level defense in center field. I think the Jackson Merrill thing can kind of shock you. William Contreras, when you think about going back to that trade from the Braves, that they kind of didn't look at him as their catcher in the future, which is crazy. That's one I know Trevor gets held up on. Mookie Betts, we've done that conversation. Yordan and Soto, man. Has Soto just been on bigger stages? Because how different are those numbers truly? Like, Soto's at bats feel generational. He's led the league in walks 3 times. Top 6 MVP 4 times. 285, 421 on base. 953 OPS. Yordan. 298, 390, and 973 OPS. So I'm getting 30 points of on base with Soto, but I'm getting more slugging with Yordan. And defensively, I'm not going to hammer the table for Soto. But you can't do it for Yordan either. That there's something to Soto. And maybe that's just dumb. Is it? I don't think so. Yordan hit a game-winning homer in the World Series.
Yeah, he's won.
He won the World Series.
So is Soto.
So is Soto. That's interesting.
I think the tiebreaker is that and both of these guys are just two of the four best hitters. Splitting hairs as far as the role that's going to come up on this roster. That bench spot is going to be a lefty that's coming in to pinch hit.
Right.
And Yordan is kind of central casting for that.
Never really looked at Soto's baseball savant. That's worth a click. My God. Blood red. I mean, Yordan has to be almost the exact same. You know what? Very similar. Soto's has a little more blood to it. 19th in sprint speed for Yordan. Soto's 36th. 48th in arm strength for Soto. 34th for Yordan. I think the answer leans Soto. My God, it's rare you see baseball players, pages that look like this. That I think Soto is the right answer. I guess I was just doing a little mental spin of have we talked ourselves into that? I don't think so. I think it turns into a Bobby Witt and Gunnar situation where I don't know, though. Is Yordan a better hitter?
Forgot how young Yordan is.
Yeah, listed at 27.
Older than Soto.
Yeah, right. I guess the people will sound off at this point. Let's leave it and jump to pitchers for now. I think this will be a little high and tighter. Because that's at a certain point I'll probably stop caring about bullpen. I think the rotation is cleaner than you'd guess. Again, if you want to get mad at this, you can. because pitchers are pitchers are pitchers. Skeens and Skubal, I don't think there's any argument against them. I think Skeens is the best righty in the game. I think Skubal's the best lefty in the game. SKSK, that's kind of cool. Jimmy likes that kind of stuff. Skeens and Skubal, I get a righty and lefty off the rip. I am, as I bring this up, looking at Eno's. He just ranked the best pitchers. His top 5 was Skeens, Skubal, Wheeler, Gilbert, Crochet, Sale, Burns, Reagan, Cease. I'll put Zach Wheeler on there. I think the innings meets performance kind of makes it not a question. But I think that's a layup. I'm not as in Logan Gilbert as Eno is. So I think I'm going to pass on that. Crochet Sale, I think, is an interesting one. Sale just won the Cy. Ended the year kind of hurt again. Crochet looked absolutely electric. Had a couple weird starts that threw off the total stat line, but he seems to be peaking. How good is Cole Reagan's? Like, I want one more lefty. And the lefties that are on the table, one guy that I maybe love too much is Blake Snell. 2 size. Framber Valdez in a contract year. Is it? I feel like I looked that up and I felt wrong about it, but I think it is.
I believe it is.
They're talking about trading him. Framber Valdez. Who's Cole Reagan's? Because he seems to be really good. And then it's Chris Sale and Crochet.
Framber's contract year.
With what Chris Sale did in the regular season last year, it would be Chris Sale. It's a little bit do what the other team doesn't want, and you literally just don't want to see him when he's right.
Uncomfortable.
It's always felt uncomfortable. The body is uncomfortable. Cole Reagan's, how good are you? Do I need to fight for you? 5 WAR last year.
Buck 86 innings.
Buck 86, 223 strikeouts. Like, if I'm Cole Reagan's,
4th and Cy Young.
I feel like I deserve more credit than Garrett Crochet.
I think so.
He does. The stats side by side, Reagan's wins. I know there's a couple Crochet outliers there. But then, this is where I start spinning. If you ask me, okay, let's say Cole Reagan's beats Crochet, and that's done. Chris Sale still feels weird. That's fine. I might be too much of a Snell guy. I love Snell. That I would take Snell over Reagan's. And I don't think that should be controversial. It's basically just how good of a start does Snell get off to. I think the LA thing's going to work for him. And I think I'd rather have him over Sale. So I'm sorry, everyone. I think Blake Snell's my 4-starter. Just like the Dodgers. Basically. Which means I need one more righty, which is down to Logan Gilbert, Corbin Burns, Dylan Cease. You could put a DeGrom out there if you're a sicko, but
yeah,
I don't believe yet.
Ability to get through this season, I think, is important.
Logan Webb deserves a shout-out. Yamamoto, Strider, if he was healthy, is he a layup for this team? Probably. Pablo Lopez. Okay, we're starting to get a little deep. Is it just Corbin Burns?
I think so.
There's something about him that feels unsexy at this point, which is dumb, because he's just really good. It's Corbin Burns.
He just got $210 million.
It's 1,000% Corbin
discount.
Burns. It's 1,000% Corbin Burns.
Especially, and maybe this is rude to any number of the guys we put on here, but one more, outside of Wheeler, I feel like we could use one more reliable source of innings, and I think that is Corbin Burns among the names we listed. Skeens just, it's year 2.
Skeens, it's year 2. I get the Snell
We did the
stuff.
Snell
Scooble probably
stuff.
deserves a little more at this point. It was injury, and now it seems like he's here.
Past it.
But yeah, I think there was a weird unsexiness with Corbin Burns that wasn't fair because his final numbers last year ended up being great. I think he got better as the year went on. But yeah, I like that a lot. Sale, Gilbert, like Dylan Cease kind of has an argument, but Corbin Burns gets the nod over Dylan Cease for me.
Again, Mariners fans are probably mad at us because they have a handful of guys
Right.
that should have been mentioned here, and they all sort of just blend together as that next tier, I think, for us.
All right, let's try to do relievers quick because, well, if you're at this point, thank you. I appreciate you. Subscribe, all the good stuff. Bullpen-wise, I
I
think
believe we have 8 spots to work with. So.
8 spots. You got to go righty, lefty for a little bit. Class A has to be on there. I don't know if he's the one, but he has to after the year he has and after the career he's had. From there, if I'm going lefty, Tanner Scott has kind of taken the throne from Josh Hader. They're both going to be on this team. But we can continue going righty, lefty for a little bit. Class A, Scott. I will go Devin Williams. I mean, he throws essentially an unhittable pitch, and go look at his stats the last couple years. That's a no-brainer. Class A, Scott, Devin Williams. Hader, still Hader for me. I mean, that guy is the throne until he's not. That was dramatic. Way too dramatic. Cardinals fans, I don't think we need to beef. I think Ryan Helsley makes this team. Ryan Helsley had like him in Class A's past couple years are not that far apart. Troy Percival reminds me of just straight power. I hope he ends up on a playoff team by the end of this year because maybe people appreciate him a little more because he is disgusting. So I've got, that's 5. I think I require one more lefty.
For an ideal bullpen, I think you're going to want one more.
Ryan Yarborough. I don't know, man. This is where the lefty thing is funky that, I remember getting nervous about the Yankees lineup having too many lefties at the top for wipeout lefty relievers, and I don't know if there's another guy that deserves to be with those guys. You know what I'm saying? Like as I'm looking at, I've sorted by reliever WAR, which should have never happened, but guys that have popped up over the past couple years are Hobie Milner, AJ Puck, who maybe he is, but
the one that just came onto my screen, I sorted very similarly. It was Aroldis Chapman.
right, like he's still. I think some people may be shocked by that. He's still like very much in the mix of that,
especially on this team where he's not the closer for you, and you're using him as your third lefty.
How about this? I might have a good landing place for us. It's nice to have some length still out of the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
I can't put a starting pitcher out there. What about Matt Strom?
I like Matt Strom.
Long reliever, has done the multiple innings thing. I think he's coming into the season a little banged up. But Matt Strom has been incredible for the Phillies. He had a 1.87 last year. 62.2 innings, so he became more of a one-inning guy. How about the year before that? He was 3.29, 56 games, 87.2 innings.
Was that the Red Sox year they had him starting a handful of games?
Did
Phillies have him doing that?
They talked about that. He started 10 with the Phillies that year in 2023.
I think he started one. I think the night, the day Trey Turner was in this office, I think that night Matt Strom started.
Look at that, memory lane. So yeah, I think I like Matt Strom. A little more versatility. Has started games. We'll keep him stretched out. The other lefties weren't doing much for me. Sorry, Alvarado. Sorry, Minter. Sorry, Vesia, who's actually on a bit of a heater right now. Joe Mantiply. Ooh. I might have someone who deserves it more than Strom.
Okay.
Let me do a double check and see if the stats make it move for me. Matt Strom is off the team. Tyler Holton.
Ooh.
For your Detroit Tigers. 3 B-War seasons the past 2 years. Career 2.19 ERA. 94.1 innings last year. Technically 9 starts. They weren't real starts, but 85.1 innings the year before that. Tyler Holton is the answer.
Sorry, Matt Strom.
Sorry, Matt Strom.
Great look. If we could put your look on
Yeah,
the team.
the bullpen needs a little more of that. Okay, so we need 2 more righty arms in the bullpen. There's a lot of ways you could go with this.
I've found at least 2 names I love for consideration here.
Sure.
I think a third I'll throw out there.
Okay.
The 3 I see in front of me right now are Edwin Diaz, Raisel Iglesias, and Felix Bautista.
I've seen those names. Felix is a really interesting one for me. His dominant seemed to be in a different world.
Like obviously misses virtually all of, if not all of last year. Little out of sight, out of mind.
I think I might have it. I think I want Bautista. He is all world. I think it was him missing from the Orioles. They felt that. It's crazy to watch him. I'm kind of excited to watch him, as long as it's not against my Yanks. I think the last spot, I was leaning Raisel, and maybe I could be talked into Raisel. This guy's stats blow me away every time. Another guy that was amazing versus lefties as I'm building this versatile bullpen. Maybe I'm crazy. I think I'm down to Raisel Iglesias and Kirby Yates.
Ooh.
Kirby Yates' stats last year are insane.
Very silly.
David Robertson, Clay Holmes.
I honestly had a few David Robertson thoughts in the last 3 minutes. Currently unsigned.
It's crazy.
For the role they're playing here.
A name just on my mind, Justin Martinez, who broke out for the Snakes last year. I think we're looking for a little more pedigree. Let's go Raisel. As much as I love Kirby Yates and how good his last year was, well, both these guys have played a lot. Raisel over the past 3 years has thrown 60 more innings at the same clip. That I don't know. I do think sometimes we just get bored of something when it's the same. I'm a Raisel guy.
And frankly, we said this about our Yankees a little bit coming into this year. The pitching staff could use that little extra flavor.
The whole team. We're trying to be the best team possible, and maybe that matters. Yeah, some more tough breaks. Like you said, Edwin Diaz, who I guess I'm selling on this year. Brian Abreu, Jason Adam. Did I say Andres Munoz? Ryan Walker, if you really want to come from the top rope.
Yeah.
This is where the pitchers end up not being fun. Because
It's just a lot of really good pitchers.
Robert Suarez have an argument? Probably, dude. That concludes my 26-man team. You guys are going to tell us what we got wrong. And I'm interested to find out. I kind of want to see what the people don't like. Because William Contreras, big dumper, sure. I could see Seattle coming back on that in a big way. Maybe even the Austin Hedges on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
I could see them not liking that. I guess bench, I feel like there's going to be better solutions there. Maybe there's not.
Yeah, the people will want Ellie.
Like,
I
do
think
I have
that's gonna
anyone
be a
else
big
that can play
comment.
first base in a pinch? Not really. feel like they gave up on Jordan in that. And even if it was Ellie, you got the pinch runner, but he can't play that. So I don't know. That's what gets tricky with some of these teams. I think I like where it landed. I'm excited to see what people are the most mad about. And I think that's a fun exercise. I hope you guys think so too. If you do, comment below. Let me know that you like it. We'll probably do it at the end of the year or as the start of the year or wherever. For now, hope we got you through whatever you're getting through today. We will be back on Wednesday with Jolly the day before baseball. Whoa. Thank you guys. Subscribe.